With me today is Lee Wilson, who's the technical director for Corrtech in the United Kingdom. Lee, welcome.
Hi, Jim. How's your good self?
It's going very good, going very good. Hey, I wanted to ask you, my first question is to really focus on the current status of the global protective coatings on the inspection side and the industry. And what I wanted to find out from you is a little bit of where we are in the protective coatings industry related to protective coatings inspection, but also too, what are some of the challenges facing the industry on inspection going into 2020 and beyond?
That's a very interesting question, Jim, especially taking into consideration the current climate. I mean, as you're well aware, it's all about supply upon demand. And way back in 2012, I was writing for JPCL, who is obviously the voice of SSPC in regards to the demand for inspection. I mean, even back then we were asking, is the market saturated with coatings inspectors? And the response back in 2012 was that we were. Going in, as you see, well, we're into 2020 now, and has things changed since 2012? And I personally don't believe that they have. You just have to look at any social media platform to see that there are many inspectors out there, highly qualified, highly skilled, unemployed. So I mean, ultimately, there's a lot of concern in regards to the mass marketing of certification. It has been, as you're well aware, on social media platforms. Again, there's a big outcry in regards to the amount of inspectors that are currently out there certified who lack the experience which is supposed to be required as per the certification bodies. You've seen it yourself. There's great concern in regards to that. I mean, we just have to look at historical facts. 2014, 2016, the oil slump, we've seen, projects, fabric maintenance was greatly reduced. New build construction was shelved, due to the price of oil. But there was a major increase in regards to certification during this period. Now, ultimately, there was mass marketing. That's without a doubt. The demand wasn't there. The oil prices have certainly picked back up. But, as can be seen, that supply and demand is still not there. So we have guys who've spent a lot of money in regards to getting certification, sitting, without the ability to use that certification. Couple this with a lot of concerns within the industry in regards to that experience level. I'd say it's pretty much in disarray at present. I mean, we have to face facts. It's coating failures are increasing. This is without a doubt. I mean, our company, Corrtech, we were originally, our core business used to be protective coating inspection. Mm-hmm. As you're well aware, Jim, that is no longer the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still specialists in coating inspection and still a service that we do provide. I mean, fortunately, we're highly skilled and we have a good reputation, so we do maintain clients. But we've had to look outside the box because, ultimately, our core business now lies with fabric maintenance, as well as corrosion and insulation, as you're well aware. So it's had a great impact also upon us, and so I think there needs to be a far greater emphasis upon ensuring that candidates have that experience, the necessary experience requirements, before continuing through the whole certification process. We have in the past seen senior inspectors with no experience. Now, I have to ask the question, does that have something to do with the current failure trend? It seems to be going hand in hand. Failures are on the increase, and so is the level of certified inspectors. Now, I'm well aware, and so is your good self, Jim, that measures have been taken in regards to this. But we have to ask, is it a case of too little, too late? We are seeing disgruntled inspectors, and quite rightly so, who are voicing their concerns on social media on a daily basis in regards to this.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been in the forefront of really bringing up these issues to the industry, but also asking the hard questions, but also you've been also drawing a lot of fire from a lot of people in the industry as well, because you're pointing out the obvious and you're asking a lot of really tough questions of how this industry is going to evolve moving into 2020 and beyond. Now, in the aspect of dealing with facility owners and a lot of the firms that are looking, or that are actually, writing the specifications and things like that, are calling out for inspection, what do you recommend to owners when it comes to tackling that question like you have right now of, yes, I might be a level 3 inspector, but what type of experience do I have? And, how do owners address that?
Perfect question, Jim, and something which you've seen me also contribute in regards to conversations online. I mean, let's face facts for it is what it is. Ultimately, inspection is inspection. Okay, so we have certified levels 1, 2, and 3 inspectors. Now, that says that you're certified to inspect. You also see job postings that will ask for a protective coating engineer or a specification specialist, which in my experience, that should be down to a protective coating specialist. That's what the course is for, and that's what the examination is for. A coating engineer should come from a coating engineering background, or certainly from an engineering background. Does the certifying bodies, the likes of the SSPC, NACE, FROSIO, the Institute of Corrosion, do they, in their inspection courses, teach you how to be an engineer? Absolutely not. They tell you from day one what the duties of the inspector are. Engineering is not part of that. Neither is specification implementation. Review of the specification, absolutely, but certainly not compiling it. I mean, I wouldn't want a level 1, 2, and in some cases now, level 3 inspectors writing specifications. That's, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they have an inability to do so, but in a court of law, I would hate to say, where were you trained from any of these accreditation schemes to be an engineer or develop specifications? Because that's simply not the case. Hence the reason why, you guys have the PCS, the protective coating specialists, so does NACE. So there's developments now to improve upon that level, above and beyond the roles and responsibilities of the actual inspector. And the problem is owners and operators, they're not familiar with the likes of this. They're not familiar with the NACE corrosion specialist, the NACE protective coating specialist, SSPC, PCS. They don't know this, so that they routinely go, let's have a level 3, but it goes against the whole principles of the inspection criteria and what you're taught. So there needs to be more awareness and focus, predominantly to the majors, to say, look, these are the level of guys for this role that you need to be employing.
I see that. I do understand where you're coming from on all that. The some of the hot topics in the industry related to coatings inspection, corrosion under insulation, and you're very intimately involved with that and in the forefront of that. Any updates that you could provide me related to where the current state of the industry is with CUI?
I mean, CUI still remains the biggest threat in regards to corrosion in the industry. I mean, there was recent surveys carried out by one oil major in particularly, who stated that 75% of all their corrosion failures per refinery is down to CUI. Now, if we look at the recent day studies in regards to the global GDP for corrosion, which is in excess of 2.5 billion, I can't remember off the top of my head the exact figure, but let's say 75% of that is down to CUI. It's a major issue. And we just have to look at recent events, Jim. And I'm talking catastrophic failures, all attributed to corrosion and CUI specifically. And we're talking, shutdowns, complete shutdowns of plants. One specifically in the US will no longer be up and running. At the cost of billions. If we look at the end result. So CUI is having a drastic impact upon the industry. I mean, one of my major hiccups with CUI is it's not a new corrosion mechanism or a new phenomenon. The industry's known about this for many, many decades now. So we know what the causes are, we know what the effects, we know the impact. of not getting it right, not putting in regular maintenance. We know what the major concerns are in regards to insulation, moisture ingress, protective coatings. So all the answers are there. So why, in 2020, are we still facing such significant, costs, financial costs, economic costs, environmental issues, as well as safety issues, key first and foremost. We're still seeing catastrophic failures, injuries, all down to CUI. So, we could say, yes, we know everything about it, but what are we doing about it as an industry? And, from what I'm seeing, I've been on the front lines with CUI, we're not doing a great deal. We're not having an impact from a corrosion control perspective or a corrosion mitigation perspective upon CUI. We're not.
Okay. Do you think that this is a result of poor asset planning, letting things kind of build to a point? And then the other thing too, the other question I have for you is, currently in the industry, are inspectors trained and qualified to be able to do a lot of that work? Is there enough out there to handle that need?
Brilliant questions again, Jim. I mean, okay, let's look at one of the first aspects of your question. In regards to CUI, I mean, let's look at 2014, 2016. As I said, it's not a secret that companies, slashed their budgets on maintenance. They did. The price of oil was low. They're all, bleeding poverty, despite the fact turning over millions in profit every year. But maintenance gets shelved, as always. Patent programs put on the back shelf. Next thing you know, we have CUI, hydrocarbon leaks shut down at a cost of far more and far superior rates than actual carrying out the fabric maintenance campaign. So we sit in anticipation that once the prices rise, and we'll all go back into work and the maintenance will begin, and we're promised this by the majors. Then what happens? We get in, the oil prices are continuing to rise, and they don't want to carry out shutdown of planned maintenance because then they're losing even more money. So it's an ongoing, it's a vicious circle, and where does it end? 9 times out of 10, it ends in failure, and often catastrophic. So, I've asked this question many times, and something I do get direct fire at, as you're well aware. But, is it a case of ignorance? Is it a case of a lack of awareness? Or, as always, is it a case of the dollar? And 9 times out of 10, it's down to the dollar, Jim. That is the world in which we live. But for me, it's a fallacy. We've seen the costs in regards to shutdown. It's unbelievable. So that, in regards to, I mean, as you're well aware, I'm qualified by a number of different certification bodies. And my CUI came from, not from any of those. It didn't come from NACE, the Institute of Corrosion, nor SSPC. I do a lot of in-house training myself, going to companies and doing CUI training. And, unfortunately, I haven't seen many courses out there tailored and certified by certification bodies in regards to CUI. It will touch upon CUI, of course, as the fundamentals and the basic mechanisms of CUI, but I haven't seen any dedicated course. I know there are some in Holland. Cine have one, I think. But again, we're talking, let's say, a huge percentage of corrosion failure attributed to CUI, yet we're not seeing any major certification bodies or approval systems given out to inspectors. And remember, inspectors are paint inspectors, are coating inspectors. Where does the full corrosion assessment surveyor come into it as well? So it grows arms and legs, Jim.
So as a experienced, a globally experienced inspector, but also an accredited and expert educator, where do you see what are some of the challenges and what are the potential opportunities related to training and or certification that you see that's needed in the industry?
I mean, like we went over during the interview, Jim, I mean, ultimately, we have to ensure that the experience requirements are met all the way through the approval certification. It has, experience has to be verified. It has to be, there has to be systems in place where we say, okay, this guy has been experienced for 5 years prior to taking this level of certification. It needs to be verified. It needs to be authorized. Ultimately, non-profit organizations they're still making a lot of money in regards to this certification body. So I'm sure we could set up a system where this was 100% verified, and this would certainly contribute to dishing out, far experienced protected court inspectors. This, of course, would have a major impact on the industry. As I've stated, during this interview, and we've discussed on numerous occasions, Jim, we have to see each individual training course for what it is. If you're a courting inspector, then you're going out to inspect protected courtings, of course, at whatever level, 1, 2, or 3 is senior. However, does that cover you to be a courting engineer? Absolutely not. Does an ASPCS or SSPC, protected courting specialist, does that teach you to do? Absolutely. So it's horses for courses. What we need to be saying is, you're a courting inspector. That's the parameters of this certification. Does that thereby say that you're an expert in CUI? Perhaps if you have that experience, but are you certified? So, we need to be going down the lines and saying, okay, let's have an AS3 with that additional CUI. Let's have an SSPC, PCI with that additional also CUI. This was done once upon a time, but it's been abandoned due to the requirement of the AS3. Them additional add-ons, they're great to the employer. Oh, what else can you do? I'm a marine specialist. I'm a nuclear coating specialist. They were all good ideas, but the emphasis on that now, it's been left out, and that's what we need to be seeing. Job specific. Okay, I want a marine coating inspector, so I want an experienced marine coating inspector. Where do I get him from? Oh, we've got an A3 plus marine. That's the way forward, Jim, in my eyes, as well as additional training by the certification authorities and boards such as yourself. You should be developing further CUI courses. Look at the biggest issues in the industry. They're the target areas where we need to be certifying guys and saying, look, we have a great force of CUI inspectors, because you have to be a good surveyor. You're going out doing CUI assessments. You have to know about insulation, moisture ingress, the basics of fundamentals. It's well outside just the realms of an AS3 inspector, Jim. So I think they're definitely target areas and areas that we need to look at.
Very good, very interesting. We kind of covered a little bit about your thoughts on where the current market is or industry is and where things are heading, and we talked about the challenges related to 2020 and beyond, and CUI, and then training and certification. Is there anything additional that you wanted to cover in this interview related to protective coatings inspection?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there are protective coatings inspection was, as you well aware, I started off through the Institute of Corrosion, and I'm passionate about protective coating inspection. I always have been, and hence the reason why I challenge standard bodies, authorities such as yourselves. It's ultimately it's all about getting it right. Now, when we're seeing in this industry, unfortunately, I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are highly qualified, and unfortunately, they're sitting at home and they can't get work in this day and age, despite let's face it, these guys have spent a lot of money in getting to where they want to be. And unfortunately, I think certification bodies, some of them, certainly have to take ownership of their mistakes in the past and where they've went wrong. So it's all about how we're going to solve this problem. As I've said, is it too little, too late? Perhaps it's not. We need to be doing something, because ignorance is not bliss. This is not going to go away if we keep certifying inexperienced personnel. It's something that we can't do. And we need to also be broadening our horizons to say that, a protective coating inspector, these are his duties, these are his roles, these are his responsibilities. So owners and operators need to be focused upon what they are. By that, they need awareness as well. So we need to be, I'm saying we need to be, but the certifying bodies, they need to be focusing and targeting owners and operators, and educating them precisely on what an SSPC PCI does, what his remit is, what his roles and responsibilities are, because at the minute it's carte blanche. You know, and AS3 is he's the guy to do everything, and that's not the case. And certainly Nace would agree with me that is not the case. You know, we all signed an attestation in regards to what we can do. So there needs to be, you know, a lot further awareness in regards to that. Also, going back to the issues that we have in regards to catastrophic failures, and which are on the increase, Jim, which we've discussed on many occasions. The certification bodies need to be targeting the majors and saying to them, you know, how come? You know, these societies have been running for you know, decades and decades now, Jim. Why are we still seeing these issues going into 2020? Why? Someone's not listening. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I know you guys, the certification bodies, I know you emphasize this often, but somehow it's not getting through because we're still in exactly the same position, if not worse, than we were when I started my career over 22 years ago.
Well, you know, my experience being in this industry, it takes passionate people like yourself who ask the hard questions and points out the facts and opens up that dialogue and discussion. And you've done that, Lee. Just recently, you've posted a lot of very good, insightful information and facts, and you've taken a lot of positive feedback, and you've also taken some criticisms and some questions about why are you asking this or why are you stating that. I definitely encourage you to keep doing that. That's the only way the industry is going to face the challenges, but also work what's in the best interest of the industry to improve it.
Absolutely. I mean, my wife's my biggest critic, Jim, and if I can deal with her, I can pretty much deal with anyone. So, I'm quite thick-skinned coming from the northeast of England. I hope she's not around and heard that, by the way. No, I mean, like I say, I'm passionate about the industry, and ultimately, there has to be voices within the industry. Or all we're going to do is just continue on the merry-go-round that we have been on. We have to face facts. We have to face reality. We just keep ignoring everything, and it's going to get worse. So I don't mind bringing up. I'm quite a big lad, got big shoulders, so I can take anything. So as you're well aware, you'll probably see me on social media in the very near future. Sort of, maybe it's annoying or irritating someone. I have that impact. I don't know what it is.
Well, Lee, I appreciate the opportunity to interview you and talk with you. And for everyone who's listening to the interview, I will have Lee's contact information and Corrtech's information in the description below. Lee, I really appreciate this opportunity, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to connect again and do something. And I look forward to if you do something that I would love to be able to participate with you as well in an interview or anything like that.
Absolutely, Jim, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from me soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.